Bin, round 26 of the Telstra Premiership. James Graham, Buzz Rothfield, Gorden Tallis, Ben Dobbin with you ahead of Newcastle taking on Cronulla and then the Titans taking on the Dolphins. Canberra, minor premiers in 2025. Who would have thought? Great story. We'll unpack that today. We'll also look at what's the buzz. I'll tell you what, he's got some big stories as well. There's some issues going around the Perth Bears. Gorden Tallis, Hall of Famer, club captain, Australian captain. Hello, mate. How are you?
How you going? How good is it, huh?
Unreal.
Congratulations to the Raiders. It was a great afternoon down there in Canberra, but another great weekend of rugby league just keeps on delivering.
Keeps on going. Jeez, it's been good football. Jammer, how are you, brother?
Yeah, going really well. Obviously, congratulations to the Canberra Raiders. Also, you know, there's a bit of controversy this week, but the Broncos are in the top four, the Warriors are out, and the Cowboys, well, they're on Mad Monday already a week early.
Unbelievable. They have the bye, and look, all the assistants are going as well. We might talk about that a little later. This bloke's been the leading sports rugby league journalist for 40 years, Phil Buzz Rothfield, and he already has breaking news. Hello, Buzz. How are you?
Yeah, Dobbo, how are you? Good afternoon, listeners. Yeah, breaking story. You want me to go now with it,
Go,
mate?
brother. Go, mate. Straight up the top.
Just had an NRL ruling on the Dally M Awards, and Harry Grant, who was going to be, I reckon, a top 3 or 4 finisher, considering the season he's had, has been ruled out of contention. Reason being, they have a rule that for serious foul play offences, you're out. So if you get 2 weeks or longer, you're ruled you cannot win the award. If you get 1 week, something very minor, you can still win. You just lose 3 points. But Harry Grant is out.
The shoulder charge on Harry Hayes,
Yes.
has made him ineligible
Yes.
to win the most
serious?
prestigious individual award. Wow.
Jimmy, look, I agree with you, but what this Dally M system is, it's a lot better than what the AFL have with the Brownlow medal. You can do something even more minor in the AFL than a shoulder bump, which Harry Grant was responsible. You could miss 1 game for the most, nothing incident, and you're out of the Brownlow. At least
but
the
Buzz,
NRL,
But Buzz, we shouldn't judge ourselves on other
Exactly
codes.
right.
So if you don't play those 2 weeks, which means you can't get points for those 2 weeks, there's your punishment.
Yeah.
And if you're still good enough to win it and play 20 rounds or 18 rounds or 16 rounds, that means you've had a great year. And when you're on the field...
Gordy, look, for the more minor offences, you do lose points, okay? And you miss a game where you can't obviously pick up points.
Yep.
What we've got to remember is the Dally M Award is not Best Player Award. It is called a Best and Fairest Award.
Yep. Good point.
And that's why there are deductions, and some players... Even they changed the rules, and I hope I'm going to pronounce his name right, Mark Nwanganatuisi. Well, they ruled he can't win the rookie award.
Because he's played at a high level.
Yeah, at a high level, which I think's good. I don't think he'll be winner of the year.
I would say that Harry
he's a
Grant's
rookie
been
in our game.
Yeah, but Harry Grant's been the best hooker, we all agree, for the season. So when you're giving your Dally M team of the year, to me, it's whoever wins that now would be going, well, I won it because Harry Grant got suspended. I don't agree with that. I think fair enough, not for the Dally M Best and Fairest medal, but when you're doing the team of the year...
I don't agree with that, Dobbo, because I won a Clive Churchill medal and Tony Carroll was the best player on the field by at least the straight. I'm not giving it back to him.
No, but it's very
I don't
different.
even let
It's
him
very
know that he was
different. That
better.
was on. You both
He
played
tells
the
me
game.
he's better. Yeah, I know, but he tells me he's better.
But Harry Grant's been the best hooker all year.
Yeah, but in 5 years' time, it doesn't matter. You got the Dally M, whatever it is. So don't worry about that. The bloke that wins it will just walk up there and he won't think of Harry Grant.
No.
He'll think he's had a great year, which they all do.
And I'll tell you now, I know who the winner will be, or at least should be, will be Blake Brayley. And when he gets up there to accept that award, it'll be the proudest moment of his career, thoroughly deserved. As I said, it's a Best and Fairest award. I agree with Jimmy, though. For the life of me, I cannot believe he got 2 weeks for what he did on Harry Hayes. It was not a 2-week incident.
But we should have another award just for the best player.
Yeah.
No matter what regardless of what happens.
The
Gordy, I'll tell you-
fairest is in the fine print, and nobody walks around. I tell you what, like Jonathan Thurston and all those legends that have won Dally M's, they don't go around going, "I was the best and fairest player in the NRL that year." They show, "I was the best."
It was a lot worse back in the day. I'll tell you a story. The old Rothmans medal and Mick Cronin. You guys know what a champion Mick Cronin was from Gerringong.
Legend.
And he was also probably up there in the cleanest half dozen players I've ever seen. He was squeaky clean. In a match later in the season, he raised his elbow basically to protect himself like a bumper bar, right? He connected with, and he got a week. He would have won the medal that year, but he was ruled. So it's actually a better system than what it used to be.
Well, obviously, Harry Grant won't be winning it, so there will be some debate around that.
I
good.
reckon Harry Grant, his form this year, and we're all saying, there's a lot of commentators out there saying he's up there with Cameron Smith without the longevity. I think Harry Grant would be running very close to James Tedesco on the leaderboard.
That's valid.
Wow.
That's valid. Well, he won't be getting an award this year anyway. Okay, let's start with the Canberra Raiders. Congratulations, 24 points to 10 winners over the West Tigers yesterday, and they win the minor premiership, 19 wins, 4 losses. An incredible year for Canberra, Gordy. It started against the Warriors in Las Vegas, and they have just been so consistent this year. It's been a great story for the nation's capital. It's been a great story for rugby league.
It's been unbelievable to watch them over there in Vegas, the style of footy they played. Ricky sort of had to go and reinvent. And the thing that I love of is it's like he's coached the individual, which I totally agree with. And I love that all of them go out there and they express themselves. They're not cookie cutter. They don't go out there. They play whatever suits their team. They're not perfect, but they're just so good to watch. To tune in yesterday, I heard Dan Ganane talk it up, and I'm thinking, oh, Dan, you're talking up a little bit, but the game delivered, like the Viking clap, what happened, and, those fans that don't always turn up, I think, down in Canberra, but this year they have, and the players are giving them something to cheer about.
It's a great story for our sport because, when unpredictable things happen, it makes us stand up and take notice. And at the beginning of the season, I hold my hand up. I didn't envisage Canberra even making the 8. And to watch them progress, some of those close wins, that victory against the Sharks at home, and the momentum that they've been on. And it's great to watch young players advance and learn throughout the year, and even see players like KO Weeks almost get a second chance. He was let go by Manly, and Canberra saw something in him, and that combination now, that young spine, Weeks, Strange, it'll be Sanders next year, Owen Patty as well. Like, it's not just a one-season hit wonder for the Canberra Raiders. They've got the jigsaw pieces and the ingredients there for long-term success with that spine, some really talented young players with Tamale as well, and the likes of Sasangi. Like, this team is going places for a long time.
Dobbo, I think this rugby league side has brought new customers to the game this year. The style of footy, high speed, high intensity, high skill. And I tell you what the punters love is a sporting fairy tale. You look at, all around the world, you look at Leicester City in the English UK Premier League all those years back where they came from nowhere. And while Canberra's not quite in that level of fairy tale, what they've done, with many tipping them to finish in the bottom 4, is just spectacular. I love the style of football they play. I had a look at the betting odds on Ladbrokes just before we came in. They're now second favourites at $4.
Who is the favourite?
Penrith, Storm, at $2.80.
Storm,
and they're second
then Raiders,
favourites
and Penrith, and Brisbane, right?
Yeah, and I would have thought the Broncos will be firming too after, that impressive win in Townsville last night. Should earn them a top 4. But they're so good for rugby league. You could do so many highlight packages of their most spectacular tries this year with the speed. And you look at that Ethan Strange, as I'm sure you guys saw it. He got absolutely belted in a crash tackle.
Yeah.
He just jumped up and tried to score.
That's unbelievable. That Skelton looks like a big body, right? It looks like he's a 100-kilo winger. he jams in, right? He comes off his wing and he hits him flush.
Belted him.
And you think, oh, wow, that's a collision. Then he lays down. So that Ethan Strange, I don't know what he is, but he's got granite. He must have, mate, he must walk around with marbles or rocks in his pocket, because when he got here, he just bounced up. And, the Raiders, the young kids are playing young. They're bringing the enthusiasm. I still go back, and I think we called the game, Jimmy, I don't know where, with Papali'i when he broke the record and he scored a couple of tries and he kicked the goal and was sitting there. And I thought, there's the fairy tale moment for the Raiders. They've had a great year, but they've just kept on ploughing on, and look where they are now.
You know, it's interesting.
Sorry, Dob, I was just going to say, like, a lot of the time when teams get hot like this, we keep thinking that they're going to fade away. Like, go back to that victory in Magic Round on the bell, beating Melbourne Storm. Like, that was an incredible moment for this team, and then that's not even... That's like a top 3 moment considering the year. You go back to the miracle at Mudgee, like, and what this team now has belief in the dying stages of the game. They've got first class experience of winning those big games, the tight games at the wire.
There's a lot said, and Buzz, you touched on it, and Gordy, you touched on it as well. Round 3, we covered that game, and it was the Sea Eagles and the Raiders, and the Sea Eagles beat them 40 points to 12. Canberra had a disallowed try.
That's when you wrote them off.
Canberra had a no, I didn't. Canberra had a disallowed try
to Corey Horsburgh, wasn't it?
To Corey Horsburgh, and
good memory, Dobbo.
Well, it was obviously Sebastian Krish got blocked, and they said he ran an obstruction. So from there, KO Weeks had his worst game of the season. Now they had to go to the Cowboys next week, and I saw Ricky at the airport that day, and I said to him, mate, what are you going to do with Weeks? He goes, mate, we've got to give this kid confidence, and we've just got to back him no matter what. And you talked about that, just backing these young blokes, and that's probably a good lesson. And Jammer and Gordy, you guys have been coached by a lot of good coaches. The saying to a player, it must be a relief for them that they're not always worried about, are they going to be in and out of this side? That's your position, and they've been backed by Ricky, and it's paid dividends, like 10 times over this season.
Yeah, I think, well, you know what? I wasn't there, but I know that when you are settled and you don't have to fight, and you know that you're a permanent member, but you're never permanent, but you know that pretty much you've got that jersey for, say, the next 4 games, you know, like, because I reckon that's how long it takes you to get in and out of form. So I reckon that when you settle and you know that that's your jersey for the next 4 games, barring injury, there's a peace of mind that you can go and you can work. There's a different training method when you go to training, and your thought process is more team and then instead of individual, you know. So, you know, the 10 minutes at the end is individual, but if you're fighting for your spot, everything at training is all about yourself.
Well, also, Gordy, you're naive to think that mistakes won't happen. In fact, you can almost guarantee they will happen. Every player makes a mistake, but if you have that knowledge and understanding that the coach has my back, because, like
Absolutely.
I say, everyone makes mistakes, but it's not about what you do next after that mistake. And if you've got that safety net of knowing, well, you know what, I'm going to be in the team next week, you can move on much more quickly, rather than if your default thought is, oh God, I'm out of the team.
I don't know what you guys thought a couple of years ago. Jack Whiten walked into Ricky Stewart's office and basically apologised and said, look, I've loved my time here, but I'm off to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And I thought Jack probably thought he was a better chance of winning a premiership at South. And at the time, I thought the Raiders faced years of struggle. I thought there'd be a bottom of the ladder team for a significant amount of time. We hadn't heard a lot about Strange all weeks. Hudson Young was in a bit of off, you know, Hudson Young had his disciplinary issues. Yep. And how he's pulled this side together, I know he's over the line for the Dally M Coach of the Year award. It's one of the great coaching performances of the modern era. And you think back to Las Vegas and the drama, you know, what was it?
The blow-up bat? That wasn't that much of a drama, was it?
But it was, because there were 50 journos over there looking for a headline, right? And they came back late. They were in the lift. They were having a blue. And you know what Ricky did? He said to them both, you fools, you shouldn't have done it. But you know what he did? He put them out to the media the next day. Yep. And they put to bed any suggestion of a feud or any drama. It was handled so professionally.
But in hindsight, which we don't always have, I've been to Vegas 10 times. If that's the worst thing I've ever seen in Vegas, if that's the worst thing I've ever seen, is a blow-up bat in a lift.
Have you ever had dramas there personally, Gordy?
No, I haven't,
Oh.
Buzz. Thanks for asking, but
Well,
I
it's
have.
probably
I have. No, I haven't had any dramas there.
that, which is probably a good thing because you wouldn't want.
I got married there.
Yeah,
Really gate crashed my reception.
Did he?
That's yeah. So
Do we believe now that with, and it's interesting how Manly's situation with Daly Cherry Evans has played out. Jamal Fogarty's situation at Canberra, he wasn't given and he obviously went and signed the deal. It's just the two clubs, how it hasn't affected one club compared to another.
because
Now,
the way that it happened, and
yeah,
then
but
Ricky at the time goes, mate, I'm not going to hold him back. We want him here, but and there's young kids, and that's the balance of the salary cap, right?
Yep.
So we got these young kids coming through. We want you, but we don't want to lose those guys. So this money is there, and that's the cap. Like
it was handled
balances
really
the
well
cap.
at
yeah,
Canberra.
but the difference was Jamal Fogarty didn't jump on 100% footy in civilian clothes and tell the world that he was disgruntled at the Canberra Raiders and he wanted out. He didn't do that.
He showed the
He
club
had
respect.
he did. He had many meetings with Don Ferner and Ricky Stewart, and they all came to an agreement in the long run that they could not offer over 3 years what Manly was. They wished him well.
and
They wanted to keep him.
And that's the problem with Manly, right? Is DCE, right? And a lot of Manly fans go, oh well, this, and then they're still all torn on it. And they go, oh yeah, but he didn't get on with this guy and that guy. Does he get on with the emblem? Does he get on with that jersey? The jersey that gave him 300 games, the club that gave him the start. It's not the bloke in the office. It's the jersey that Bob Fulton wore, that Ian Roberts, that Jeff Tuvey, that
Beaver.
Nick Kosef, that Beaver, those guys wore. That's what I see. When I see Manly, I don't see the guys sitting in the office signing the checks or whatever. So, and I get it. I haven't been in there with all the meetings and maybe, but he should have come out and that's what should have been addressed. And then it wouldn't have blown up the season and the dressing room because it's so awkward. Like when you walk in and that would happen, it would be an awkward dressing room. And you got people like Tom and Jake Travojevic that go to their local footy and run the sideline and work in the canteen and do all those things in the area.
Yeah,
so it'd be a tough time there.
Just back to Jamal Fogarty, you've got to give him so much credit for how he's handled it, but also then his response on the field. He's not kicked stones and thought, I'm leaving this potentially premiership winning organisation. He's looked at it and gone, I'm going to win one now. But his level of performance hasn't been affected by it, and certainly it's not affected him or his team. And there's numerous examples where your number 7 is allowed to go or chooses to go, and it just completely derails the season. I think Canberra there noticed that they're not aiming for the future. They've got an opportunity now, and that's why it was handled so well. That pressure to get this right has delivered a brilliant result for the Canberra Raiders.
And again, it's a tribute to Ricky Stewart's coaching in that he left the Gold Coast with not many options. Didn't fail on the Gold Coast, but didn't make a huge impression in this premiership. He went and signed a reasonably cheap deal in the national capital, and his game, he's gone from being a good player to a very, very good player under Ricky Stewart's coaching. And that experience next year will be extremely hard to replace.
Gordy, what's your BS?
Oh, I think the people that were calling out Penrith at the beginning of last week for resting 16 players,
I disagree with you.
I think it's one of the best flexes ever, right?
Really?
So what did they miss out on?
Well, okay, from a team perspective, you think that was the right thing to do for Penrith?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They don't have a home ground,
Yeah.
so they don't have a home final,
Yeah.
right? So they don't have one. They're playing at a neutral ground, what they would feel. The only thing that's going to stop them is fatigue at the end of the year. They've won 4. If they hadn't won 4,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, the momentum. But because of what they've done in the past, 5 years, playing in 5, but winning 4, I think congratulations.
No
A
question.
massive flex to the rest of the competition that
Oh,
we're
Gordy.
just gonna
Gordon, no,
we're
I
just
don't
gonna
agree
get
with you at all.
we're just gonna get fresh
Gordy.
and fit. Yep.
Yeah, I don't
Did
agree
you
with
see
this.
the television ratings on Thursday night? You know, there was no AFL game on,
Yeah.
so they played a Legends game, okay? It was shown on Channel 7. It outrated the rugby league. It outrated Penrith reserve grade,
Yeah, because people like watching fat people make fools of
gifting-
themselves.
No.
gifting 2 points to the Canterbury Bulldogs. They
Yeah,
gifted
I'm
them
with you,
2
Buzz.
points. Now,
That's
this
fine.
so affects the integrity
Okay, so
of our
what do you want?
competition.
Madge Maguire running out,
No.
Payne Haas every week,
No,
and
but
making
I
him
don't
go out?
think
No,
16.
and
I
an
don't
injured
think,
guy,
Gordy,
or
I
them
think
flexing.
you could have done 6 this week and 6 the following week. I think taking 16 out in the spirit of the game, I don't believe that is a fair situation
So
for the
they don't
game.
earn the right to pick the team that they want. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I don't think in
It's
the
an
NFL you
NRL
can't do that. You
competition,
can't do
Gordon.
this in the NFL in other codes. You cannot do that
yeah,
because
they do, because, mate, before the finals, they rest all their big stars.
not.
Not
That's a whole squad.
You
That's
know,
a whole squad.
Dobbo, this we're in the heats, right? It's like a swimmer in the heats. Don't win any medals for winning the heats.
you can
They're
go to the
qualified.
Olympics. The bloke that
Yeah.
swims in the gold medal race doesn't even swim in the heats.
Okay, what about
Like-
okay?
What
Put it
about
this.
that?
Okay, what about the
look-
fan that goes to one game a year who buys his ticket and they've planned and they've driven from Wagga because I've got friends who are Penrith
Cool.
supporters.
So now it's about
They-
your
no,
friends.
no. I'm just giving you an example,
Yeah.
Gordon, because this game's built from fans.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
that's where it
disappointing.
starts.
Yeah, it's disappointing
so,
for those.
So they come up and they look, and their son wanted to see Cleary play and all those, and they didn't get to do it.
Well, drive up to a grand final. Drive up the week after.
Well, it's not as
They
easy as
played
that.
30
Gordy.
weeks, brother.
Yeah, they planned one
Just
week
tell
because
your mates.
they had
Just
five-
tell them, and hopefully they're
Hey,
listening,
Gordon.
like your one friend. Drive to another game.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dobbo.
Hey,
look,
Gordon.
Can just do
Dobbo,
that.
Dobbo. Wait, if you're
Yeah, they
Penrith
can
Panthers,
do that.
Dobbo, if you're Penrith
So they drive
Panthers,
up on a Thursday night and take their kids out of school.
No,
That
they
doesn't
had
make sense. Come up
pupil
on a
free day-
Sunday.
They had
Come up on a
pupil free day
Saturday.
that they got at the start of the year. They were in a
Dobbo.
small business.
Dobbo.
They brought their family up to go and watch the game,
Dobbo.
and they were
when-
disappointed. They still
Dobbo,
went.
When Penrith Panthers start caring about the individual needs of one particular family and they're buying tickets,
wow.
they will not continue
Well, that's their
to win.
members,
games.
Jammer.
And
That's
I'll-
their
Oh,
members,
Dobbo,
Jammer.
mate, don't pull the other
that's
one, mate.
their member.
Pull the
Dobbo.
other one.
Well, I'll tell you something else.
Pull the other one, Dobbo. That is a BS.
I'll tell you
You're
something else.
speaking as a footballer,
You
mate.
are a
I'm speaking as a fan.
bullshit- Don't you?
Dobbo's actually right.
You're
Speaking
talking
like
about
he's
one
right.
bloke
I'm
that
speaking
rang
as a
you.
Dobbo,
fan.
you're an
You're
idiot.
speaking as
You're
footballers.
an idiot. You're speaking
No,
like
I'm
an idiot.
I-
You're an
I
idiot,
was
Dobbo.
speaking-
I'm not
fans,
going
when
to
they
Dobbo.
go
You're
to
an
the
idiot.
semi-finals and they're fresh and fit, and then they're all there with their Penrith flags, watching their side fit and ready to go.
And you know what? As a fan,
Not
it's
limping
not
in.
about you. It's about
yes,
the
it is.
Panthers. It's
It's
not
about
about
his
you,
friend.
the
Oh,
Oh, well,
individual.
stop the fans.
It's
Without
about-
fans,
No,
you
it's
don't
not.
have a
No,
game,
no,
Jimmy.
it's not about the individual
that
fan.
is
It's
not
not
right.
about the individual
I'll tell you
fan.
something. If you let me get one word in, Peter Volandis and Andrew Abdo are about to go out and sell a new television deal. Okay.
Yep.
Fox Sports and Channel 9 aren't happy about the rubbish they had to cover last Thursday night.
Furious.
It's a New South Wales Cup side. This is an NRL competition. All the clubs that played Penrith early in the season, the previous 26 rounds, had to fight and fight like nobody's business to get the 2 points. Canterbury were gifted them. It affected the integrity of the competition. We should have rules in place where this is not allowed.
Agreed.
But why Penrith?
How?
Well, sorry. Maybe if they brought
You can
those
think
rules in,
whatever
but
you
at the
want.
moment, Penrith are entitled to do this, and it is for the betterment of them.
Of course
not
they're entitled to do
Dobbo's
it.
four
Of course
friends.
they are, but there's a big picture approach.
I don't know why you're insulting me, and I take
Well,
offence
that's-
to that because
no, that's
I
what you
just
said,
tell you,
oh,
I
my
don't
four
even know this
friends.
person. I got a letter, but there was countless stories. I think it fails the pub test that you rent.
No, it
You're
doesn't.
in an NRL
Doesn't.
competition,
It
elite
doesn't. It doesn't.
athletes, and they decide
Doesn't.
to take the whole team
It
out.
doesn't.
Well, that's your
Doesn't.
opinion. I've got a different one. I'm allowed an opinion that's different to you two.
And it's idiotic.
Well, that's your opinion as well.
It's a really big thing. When you sign up for your membership, buy your at the beginning of the year, you expect to see.
and the Broncos lose their state of origin players every year.
I'll give you
They
some
would lose me for
examples.
4 games.
And I used to have run-ins with with Cricket Australia over this. When the one-day games were on and test matches, and they brought in that fast bowler rotation system. And one year I paid for my family to go to the cricket ground to watch a one-dayer. And they grew up in lovely Glen McGrath.
Yep.
So we purchased our tickets to go and watch Glenn McGrath live at the cricket ground. They stood him down. He was rested.
Should have went to the pink test.
No, Gordy. I'm telling you, mate. Without fans, you can't.
Look, mate, I'm not bagging the fans.
No.
I'm just saying that, look, it's one game. They have won 4 competitions. They've played more games than any other side in the competition.
No
Every
question.
other side.
And have been the best.
Played, like, Titans don't make finals, so they've played 20 extra games. They're giving their top-line players one less game, and everybody's whinging about it.
We're going to talk about it.
Well, hang on. The previous Thursday, right, I was at a course stadium where the Dragons played South, and there was a lot of rain there. Oh my God! There was fans that had. Some fans chose not to go because it rained. Some chose that it did. It was a bludger of a game. But
And
you know
they're
what?
letting
Tough.
They're letting their
nothing to do
teammates
with it.
down.
It was a nothing game. South v Dragons
under
last
your
week.
system, you think
On-
this is smart? Ricky Stewart should rest his whole team. Craig Bellamy should.
And they will.
Yep.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
And we're going to
No, they
talk
won't.
about it later, but this wild card weekend idea, which now has the support of people like Blake Solly and Dave Donaghy at the Broncos and Volandis and Andrew Abdo, this wild card weekend will stop.
No, it
clubs. It will.
It won't.
It
I tell you,
will.
Dobbo. Buzz,
How dare
Buzz,
you. That is
sorry,
defamatory.
that is
I know.
defamation.
I
I'm
call
done.
BS on
Yeah.
you, Jimmy.
Sorry.
Calling him
I'll tell you why it won't.
You should be honoured.
So if we bought in that wild card week next week, if that was happening, next weekend when the Raiders play the Dolphins, it's their 2 New South Wales Cup and Queensland Cup teams respectively.
What do you mean?
Let's have a look at the ladder now. So if next week Canberra play the Dolphins, if we had the wild card weekend the week after,
You wouldn't. I'll tell you why they'd play their full strength team, because they know they're getting a weekend off for making the top 6. There's no way they'd rest them next week.
no, the Dolphins
they'd
would
take advantage.
The Dolphins would rest their players
well,
because
where are they going to finish?
9th or 8th.
Well, if they're 8th or 9th, they'll be running into the wild card
Yeah,
weekend.
so
They'll
they'd
have
rest.
to again
They'd
qualify.
rest for
No,
the wild
not
card.
necessarily.
Of course you would. You'd rest
Penrith
for the
would
wild
not
card.
have rested their players if they ran the risk of not being in the top 6 and having to go into a wild card.
The only way you'd alleviate this
Jimmy,
is if
I'm
every
trying to
team,
find a
if every
solution
team
to
gets the
stop-
week off before the finals, which unfortunately
But
we're under time
that's
pressure.
what the AFL does.
We have time pressure. Exactly, so we're not going to do that.
We're not the AFL.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I just got a text from my best mate. They race the best. They rest the best racehorses as well. Thoroughbreds. They give them week off. Oh no!
Oh, I
the fans
bought a-
want to put some money on.
I
them.
bought a ticket
We
for
can't
Ramwick,
do that.
Gordon. And it's not the.
No.
I wanted
Vince
to
has
see
got a
that.
week off.
Here we
the
go.
fact,
Couple
the
of
fact that you're even
ex-footballers taking
comparing
the
a racehorse
footballers-
to a football team over 26 weeks, it's not
They're
even
athletes.
the same.
They're
It's-
athletes.
no question.
They're
But the
athletes
comparison
training.
is
They
ridiculous.
go peaks and
you and your
valleys.
best mate need to have a look at comparisons, because that ain't right.
I'm worried about
just
you
'cause your
coaching
best
Australia
mate,
now,
right,
Gordy.
It's not my
wanted
best
to buy
mate, I don't
cheap
even know
tickets,
them. I don't even
cheap
know them.
seats, the old cheap seats, and he
They're
and he
members.
didn't watch his.
They're members, mate. They're paid
Dobbo,
members of the
you know
Okay,
what?
so
You know
they're
what?
members and go to one game.
They're
Dobbo,
country members, mate. You know
Oh,
that?
okay.
Hey,
Dobbo,
Gordy,
you know what? You
drive
could
the
do,
Dobbo.
Dobbo. You could do with a week off. Actually, you know what?
Please.
You need a
He's
rest.
not-
You
he's
need a
not
rest of
game
the
enough.
finals.
You get Lovejoy in the seat.
Oh,
Yeah,
me-
yeah.
You get
myself
Elliot in
and
this
myself
seat.
and Gordy have had some rest. Buzz is new in, mate. You need a rest. How about you take
Gordy,
take a
no,
leave
how
out
about-
of Penrith's book?
Gordy.
How about you both shut up? That's
can
what
I-
I'd like to
Because
see.
you know
Dobbo.
what? He won't, mate, because that seat, he
Oh,
knows.
God. Mate, I've got a
He
contract,
knows.
mate, an ironclad contract.
Yeah,
I can
'cause
do
it
what I
is.
want.
Hey,
Anyway,
can you?
it's very
Yes.
hard. It's very hard to get a
So
word
you're
in.
doing the
I'll-
grand final this year, are you, Dobbo?
yes, I am.
Are you?
Yes.
I'd just
for
like
what?
to say this,
Triple M
Gordon.
on the sideline.
Because you are.
Hey, Gordy, I'd just like to say
Not in
this.
concrete.
If we win the first test at Wembley,
Yeah.
I hope you don't rest them all for in Liverpool
No chance.
on the Kangaroo Tour.
No chance.
Oh, well,
But
They might rest them
let
for
me
the
tell
last
you
one.
something. If it's
Good
an
for
old
days.
fashioned, tour, and they play the 20 games, not our best players would be playing. They would be rested when they play the lower.
Not for a test match.
When they played Witness, no.
Because there's
So
a difference.
they rested them because they were playing the Dogs. They won't rest them in week 1 of the finals.
Exactly.
So that's your point.